How you doing? Here we are, PA Wrestling's regional predictions. I'm Joe Youngblood, and we're gonna talk some predictions today. But before we get to that, I just want to look over our list of returning state qualifiers for this season. As you can see here, it's broken up by what grade they are in, weight class they qualified, and what they were placed sectional, district, regionals, and whether or not they placed at states and their record last year. Just before we get started, we had 29 returning at the beginning of the season. 26 are here right now. Of those 29, as I said, the 3 that are missing are JT Cooley from Boyertown, Ryan Vulock from North Penn and PJP, and Tyler Williams from Souderton. Some injured, some for some issues with the PIAA that having to miss this postseason. With that said, here are the state medalists that are returning. We have 10, 9 of which return. As I said about Ryan Vulock, unfortunately ruled ineligible for this season. It's unfortunate that a talent like him is not able to compete, but we'll look forward to seeing him back on the mats next year. And this group, headlined by Matt Parker, was second in the state last year to Julian Klebo. Again, favorite to get back to the final and potentially get another shot at gold for District 1 and for Penridge and for himself, of course. So here you see their state place and their record. With that said, we're going to jump right into the bracket. That's why you're all here. I appreciate everyone tuning in. I got some good feedback face-to-face at the District 1 West tournament. I got some good feedback via text, tweets, direct messages, emails. Again, I really truly value that when someone comes up and says that they like the pick, didn't like it, prove me wrong, things like that. This is all for good fun and entertainment purposes. And, again, I enjoy the opportunity to be able to do this and bring this to everyone. So, without further ado, same format as last week, where I will start from the first round matchups and move across, stop before I get to the finals, go down and catch up with the wrestlebacks, and then talk about the finals match. Right here we have Corey Morabito starting off with and against Oswaldo Carbajal, sophomore versus freshman. I'm going to take the sophomore Morabito. Again, he's seen some higher level competition than Carbajal throughout the season, and has done, wouldn't say exceptional, but has done very, very well against it. And this will be no different at the regional level. He's going to get the win here and get into the quarterfinals. We have Dayton Del Vicio, freshman from Penridge, 1 loss in the season, was Justin Altrog. It was a match I thought Altrog would win. I did not think that he would pin him, but scramble ensued, and he caught him like a low leg cradle and got the fall. He takes on Jordan Howard, a junior from Avon Grove, and Del Vicio is going to get back to his winning ways and get a second round quarterfinal matchup with Max Mendez, which we'll talk about in a little bit. We have Josh Stahl, sophomore, 29-5 on the year against Harry S. Truman, freshman Daniel Baskin. This is going to be Stahl. He's been here before. He's looking to improve upon what he's done, and this is going to be it's going to be a win for him. We have Christian Hodges, freshman, 4th place out of the West tournament from Lower Merion, and Corey Salenza from Westchester East, sophomores, 28-9. Corey Salenza has been a model of consistency as far as winning matches throughout his short career here, and this is going to be a win he picks up to get into the quarters. I think he's going to do well with the experience here at regionals this year. He draws Luke Lucerne in the quarters, freshman from Council Rock North, and he's a guy that people kind of had him as like an afterthought. Everyone had Mendez ranked ahead of him and thought Mendez would beat him in districts and thought Mendez would beat him at districts. And I know if there a comment I made about Doug Zaff after district duels, he was I got a comment about what about Mendez. Well, Lucerne's beat Mendez the last 2 weeks in the finals of their conference tournament and the finals of districts. Lucerne's going to win this one here too. Then we got Justin Altrog in a rematch of 2 returning regional qualifiers, Altrog and Stahl. And this postseason I've been on the Altrog train, and I'm going to continue to be on the Altrog train here, and he's going to beat Stahl to get into the semis against Lucerne. Delvicio and Mendez. This one you can literally, you hear me say before, flip a coin. I think it's close, but I'm going to go with the experienced wrestler here, a high school experienced wrestler, Max Mendez, for the win. He's coming off back-to-back weeks in which he took losses in the finals of the tournament. He's going to be looking to continue his quest towards getting to Hershey and ultimately probably medaling. Then we got Morbido and Zaff, and I've said it before, I'm going to stick to it. Zaff, it's his weight class to lose in this matchup, which many thought would be the regional final. We're going to get it 11:30 a.m. in the semifinals on Saturday, and that is going to be Zaff and Mendez. Zaff is going to, I got Zaff for the win over Mendez, and sets up, him in the finals, gets him back to states. He is ranked number 1 in the states according to PIAA Power Wrestling. He's one of our shots at gold from District 1. And we have Justin Altrog and Lucerne. Again, this is where the Altrog train stops for me. I got Lucerne for the win, and to punch his ticket to states as a freshman, and puts Altrog into the wrestlebacks. And so here we have our semifinal losers drop down. We have Carbajal and Salenza. Again, I talked about Salenza being consistent. He's going to parlay that consistency into a win here. Howard and Stahl, it's going to be a good matchup here in this round. However, I got the Stahl for the win. Basque and Delvicio. Delvicio, after losing again, will bounce back for the win and possibly put himself on a little run here. And then we got Hodges and Morbido. And Morbido is going to be too much for Hodges, the freshman. And then we got Delvicio and Morbido. I saw Delvicio not manhandle Morbido. Manhandle is such a strong term, but really, really imposed his will from top on Morbido and cranking him over and pinning him. And I don't know if he's going to pin him this time, but he's definitely going to beat him again. And then we got Salenza and Stahl. And then, again, I'm a Corey Salenza fan, but Stahl's going to use a little bit much for him. He's going to lean on the experience of having been there before to get the win. Mendez and Stahl, again, I'm going to go with Mendez here. He's probably been on a few more scraps than Stahl this season, and that experience in itself will be what the difference in this match. And we have Delvicio and Altrog. I got Delvicio with the rematch winning. I don't think he gets pinned again by Altrog. I think he's a little bit more careful to get into a scramble situation and gets the win. Which brings us up to this 5th place match, and we got Stahl and Altrog, and this is where I get back on the Altrog train and ride it to Hershey with him. He I think this senior year he's gonna make it happen. Then we got Delvicio and Mendez in the rematch, and I'm gonna go with Delvicio in the rematch. He will have the ability to avenge 2 losses, and one last week, one this week in this tournament, and in the wrestlebacks at that. And I just think he gets the job done when needed, and takes 3rd and punches his ticket to Hershey, which brings us back up to the final. Zaff and Lucerne. I've made no, not being a homer, not being a mine. I've made no bones about it. I think Zaff is the best 106 pounder we have to offer here in District 1, and that doesn't change here despite who he's wrestling. I got Doug Zaff for the win here over Luke Lucerne from Council Rock North. So folks, there you have it, your District, your Southeast Region champ, and 1st through 5th place. Hey dude, here we are at 113 pounds. And in this weight class alone, we have some returning state qualifiers, some definite firepower here, and we're going to get right into it with a match. Got senior and freshman. We got Chris Eck, senior from CB East, and Killian Delaney, freshman from Westchester Henderson. Delaney's a kid just like to watch. He goes out and he's fearless. I do wonder, and you might hear me reference this a few times throughout the different weight classes, of when some of these freshmen that have had phenomenal years hit that wall. the pressure of wrestling week after week with so much, you win or your season's done. Sometimes it works in a negative fashion on these younger guys that are just, maybe in some cases not mature enough to handle it. So like I wonder about Killian Delaney. Like he's had a good postseason so far, but until he shows me different, I'm taking him for the win here over Eck, beating the senior and getting advancing into the quarters of the region tournament. And then we have Braden Riccini from Council Rock South and Marcus Mojica from Upper Darby. And two guys with similar records, but then you go look at common opponents, you look at level competition, and these Rock South guys, as they are year in and year out, are battle tested, and their motto, and again I might reference this more than once, is made for March, and it's March 2nd. So these guys are made for. I'm taking Riccini for the win over Mojica to get into the quarters. Then we've got Brandon Meredith returning, state medalist. He was fourth in the state last year from Springford as a sophomore. He's, state medalist. And Seth Hoops, a sophomore from Octorara. He's 32-6. Meredith is, again, focus driven. He's looking to get back to, be a regional champ. And, maybe in the process beat his what's become his arch nemesis, Matt Wild, which we'll talk about potentially in a little bit. But I got Meredith for the win here over Hoops. And then we got Jeremy Gannon, the Chichester senior, and the Upper Perk junior, Jared Coons. Again, Coons is a guy, real fun to watch. And he gets the win here over Gannon. Sets up a match with him and Lucas Ritchie, which I think will be a close match. However, I think Ritchie gets the win and gets into the semis. And we got Meredith and Shane Thompson. Thompson, the junior, who's 18-8 from Council Rock North, and Brandon Meredith. Again, Meredith, kind of flown, again, for being fourth in the state last year. You kind of didn't hear a whole lot from him this year. In all reality, I think, but Meredith gets the win over Thompson to get into the semis. And then we have Riccini and Marco Di Battista. As much as Riccini and those Rock South guys are made for March, Riccini's going to be overpowered in this match by Marco Di Battista. And, Di Battista's going to get in the semis against Matt Wild, who's going to pick up the win over the freshman from Henderson, Killian Delaney. It's a match like this, Matt Wild, just too much experience, having been there before. He's gonna overwhelm Killian Delaney in this quarterfinal match. We got Wild and Di Battista. I got Wild being Di Battista. Matt Wild last year stumbled a little bit out of the gate at regionals and rallied to qualify for states. He's going to be extra careful not to let that happen again. And this is no different. He's going to punch his ticket early for Hershey. And sometime a little bit after probably 11:45 or in and around there, he'll have that ticket for Hershey punched. We have Brandon Meredith and Lucas Ritchie. I'm going Brandon Meredith for the win to set up a rematch 3 times in 3 weeks with Matt Wild, and we'll talk more about that final after we play a little catch up here on the wrestlebacks. So we have Eck and Coons. Again, I'm going to go Coons here for the win over Eck. Just had the fortune of some more higher level competition this year that's got him ready for this part of the season. We have Mojica and Thompson. Thompson wins that. Mojica, just a sophomore, gained some valuable experience. We haven't seen the last of him at the regional level and beyond from that Upper Darby program that's on the rise and doing good things there. And then we got Hoops and Riccini. Again, Riccini, the big win to get into the quarters, but then he drops 2 in a row, and the second one to Seth Hoops, who's been here before and who's going to lean on that experience. And then we got Gannon and Delaney. Delaney wrestling the 3rd senior in a row. He's going to run that record at 2-1 in just this tournament alone and get into that consolation quarterfinal against Seth Hoops. And I think Delaney wins again to get into that Consi semis. And we got Coons and Thompson. I'm going Coons over Thompson for the win. Again, his style and experience is going to be the difference in this. We have our semifinal losers. We have Di Battista and Coons. Again, I'm going to take the Upper Perk Junior over the PW junior. Again, this one, common opponents, things, you break it down, they're pretty even. It comes down to me is who's wrestled the tougher schedule. And that was evident with the Upper Perk team and Coons, just seeing more higher level competition. And then we have Killian and Richie, and they've wrestled several times this year. Richie coming out on top each time, but it's been close. This March, St. Patrick's Day, I'm going to go to Luck of the Irish and take Killian Delaney for the upset to get into that third place match and qualify for his first state tournament at as a freshman. And setting up a match with Jared Coons. But first, let's talk about this ever important fifth place match. And we got Lucas Ritchie and Di Battista, and I'm going with the guy that's been closer before, and that's Lucas Ritchie, getting the win there and putting himself into states over Marco Di Battista. And then we have this third place match, Coons and Delaney. Again, I talked about the Luck of the Irish, and it's going to keep rolling along for this young freshman. Again, just got a feeling, and he's ready to avenge a loss and get on a roll there after the loss to Matt Wild. And we're talking about Matt Wild and Brandon Meredith, and I used to think you could flip a coin and it would decide these two, but when you've won 7 of 8 or 6 of 7 like Matt Wild has, it's not as close. I think Meredith, it's going to be another close one, but I got Wild for the win. Wild's super focused this year. He's got aspirations to get 100 wins, and if you think about it, like, he's in that 90 win range right now, and I believe he had 43 wins last year. He's got 40 this year. Like, you do the math, like, he's essentially won almost 100 matches in 2 years. And as a freshman, he was super light, didn't wrestle at all, if any. Then as a sophomore, he was in the lineup until the Campbells were able to drop down. Even so, he was like a light 106-pounder. And last year was his year to really get in the lineup and show what he could do. And he was a state qualifier. I believe he had 43 wins last year. So he's right in that mix there as he climbs towards 100 wins and get himself on the podium. And again, until Brandon Meredith gives us a reason to prove otherwise, it's going to be Matt Wild winning this regional title here. Here we go, 120 pounds in the Southeast region. This weight class is going to be a fun one. It's got a lot of talent in it, top to bottom, tough kids. You have your super talented kids, you have your super tough kids, you have your seniors, you have your freshmen, you have guys in between. This is one of the tougher ones to figure out. As far as who goes. I mean, you take 5 guys out of this. I mean, you look at the top 4 seeds right away. You can say, okay, I take them. But then you look at the guys in the first round. And you got McMahon, Andrade, Radner, and Burke. I mean, Burke's got a state medal in his cabinet at home. There's just a lot of talent here in this weight class. So, we're not going to waste any time. Let's get right after it. Here we got Logan Regal, the junior from Kennett, and Keebway McNair, the freshman from Methacton. I'm going to take the talented freshman from Methacton. I know, he had some trouble with David Campbell. I picked him to win over an upperclassman earlier in postseason predictions, but I think it's a job done here and gets into the quarterfinals. Then we have Liam Babauta from Octorara Juniors, 27-10. And Harrison Andrade, the Souderton Juniors, 29-10. And I'm going with Harrison Andrade to get into the quarters and set up a rematch with Luke Resnick. Then we have Council Rock South Junior, Ben Radner, and Pottsgrove Junior, Chase Banye. This one is going to be all Radner getting into the quarters. And then we have Jamison Eady, a Westchester East freshman, who's 23-10, and Aiden Burke, the senior from Rock North, who's 12-6. But like I said, it was a state qualifier last year, was a medalist as a sophomore, and Burke gets the win here and sets up a match with David Campbell. And again, we talked in the 106 about great quarterfinal matchups, and here we are. Like, you're going to see some great quarterfinal matchups here. And this one here, David Campbell, the senior from Boyertown, 35-5, and Aiden Burke. Campbell, the returning state qualifier. Burke, returning state qualifier. Medalist as a sophomore. I just like the way Campbell's wrestling right now. he's had some more matches. If this comes down to a full 6-minute, drag him out, beat him up type match, Campbell's going to be in better condition for that. And I think Campbell gets the win. And but again, it's one of those coin toss matches. It could go either way. And it's luck of this and luck of that. That could be the difference. Then we have Jacob Reed, the senior from Henderson, 31-9, and Ben Radner, as I talked about in his match. Radner just wrestling really well right now. Lost last week to Matt Parker, but a lot of guys lose to Matt Parker, so I don't really think to get down on him too much about that. But I'm gonna go Radner here over Reed, the junior over the senior. Again, made for March. Made for March. That's the motto on these Rock South guys. They bring it. They bring it, and I just feel this is going to be a match that Radner wins and gets himself into the semis. We have Resnick and Andrade, a match. It was 6-3 win for Resnick when they wrestled in a dual meet. Resnick took him down 3 times, cut him. I'm going to go Resnick again for the win and get himself in the semis. And McNair, a talented freshman against the super talented senior Matt Parker, Lehigh recruit, returning state runner-up. This one's going to be all Parker. He is going to be way more than McNair can handle. McNair's got a super bright future, not taking anything away from him. However, this is, Parker is just a different level, and that's no slight of McNair or his talents. We got Parker and Resnick, and Parker's gonna be too much for Resnick in this match. He's gonna be able to keep Resnick at bay, in all facets, and just again talked about that other level, and that's where Parker's at, and it's kind of Parker, and like there's another level below him that there's a lot of guys that are super talented, state level caliber guys that they're just not on his level. And we got Radner and Campbell. I'm gonna go slight upset here. I'm gonna go with Radner again. I think he's poised to make this level change and take out Campbell. Campbell has been winning a lot of close matches. I think this is a close match that he just doesn't win. Picked against him and the last week, and he proved me wrong. I picked against him in the semis. But I just got a feeling here he's gonna lose one of these matches. With that said, let's get down to the consolations. And we got Regal and Burke. Again, Burke is going to put Regal out of the tournament. We got Babauta and Reed. Got Reed winning that, getting a matchup with Aiden Burke. Banyai and Andrade. I got Andrade winning there. And then McNair and Edie, 2 freshmen matching up. McNair's going to be too much for him and get himself into the Conci quarters. We got McNair and Andrade. I'm going to go with McNair. His athleticism and his ability to score points in bunches will be the difference in that match. And then we got Burke and Reed, and for his battle test as Jacob Reed is, Aiden Burke's just a little bit better, and Burke's gonna get the win. Again, Burke's been there before. We have our semifinal drop downs here, and Resnick and Burke and McNair and Campbell. Resnick looking for that first time at States, was 5th last year. Was probably if Matt Wild doesn't get upset by Lucas Ritchie, probably that bracket goes a little bit different. And Luke Resnick is a state qualifier last year, but that's the crazy things happen in the postseason. Ritchie took Wild to overtime last year and then caught him and pinned him, and kind of blew that bracket up. But this one here, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go my my head on this one, and I'm going to take Burke. I just think that he's just a little bit better than Resnick. However, like, you can flip a coin. I said, Burke's fitness, if it's not where it needs to be, this one could go either way, but I'm going to go Burke, just based on experience. We got Campbell and McNair. I'm not making the same mistake twice. I'm going Campbell. I think he was mad at me and he had to prove a point last week. So I got Campbell for the win and set up a rematch here in this 5th and 6th place match against Resnick and McNair. First time won by Resnick 14-1. I got Resnick winning it, earn that first trip to Hershey. Not 14-1 though. I think McNair will close the gap. but ultimately Resnick I have winning. And getting himself to Hershey, this Burke Campbell match, I'm going to go, again, possibly mild upset. But I think Burke gets in the rematch, if they wrestle each other, Burke gets him and, takes that third place away from him. Then we have Parker and Radner. This is, a rematch from the final of the East tournament last week, won by Parker, who will win it again. Again, this is his weight class to lose. He's on a mission to, win a state title this year, and this is just another hurdle he's got to navigate to get to it. And so there's your 120-pound 1 through 5: Matt Parker, Ben Radner, Aiden Burke, David Campbell, and Luke Resnick. Here's 126 pounds for the Southeast region this weekend, and we're going to jump right into things. This weight class has returning state qualifiers, returning state medalists, has a little bit of everything. You look at it, we have 5 returning state qualifiers, and, do all 5 get out? Callender is a qualifier as a sophomore, but not last year as a junior. Marino is a returning multi-time qualifier. Fuss was a qualifier as a freshman last year. Campbell, 3-time qualifier, 2-time medalist. It has it all. So we're going to jump right in here. We got Antonio Martaccio from Pennsbury. He's a junior. And Brett Horn, a junior from Downtown East. I got Martaccio for the win to get into the quarters. We got Bach and James Lato from Lower Merion. Bach, the senior from Souderton, 26-8. Lato, the freshman, 30-9 from Lower Merion. I got Bach. Guy's been there before. Gonna lean on that experience to get the win. Lato, again, the 4th place finisher out of the West. Just despite the record, 39. You look at level of competition the two schools have wrestled, and there's a difference. Then we have Matt Marino and John Bazio. Marino, the Garnet Valley senior, is 37-3 on the year, and Bazio, the Avon Grove junior, is 16-16. I see Marino winning this one. Maybe one of his throws from his feet that we've grown to see from him, and set up a rematch between 2 state qualifiers in the quarterfinals. Just crazy, this weight class. Then we have Jackson Erb and Zach Elfernani. Erb, the sophomore from the Chamonix, 29-5, return regional qualifier. Elfernani from Marple Newtown, is a senior, is 25-5. I got Erb with the win here. That will get him into the quarterfinals, and then that will set up a match between him and Brett Callender, senior from Ruston, returning, or was a state qualifier as a sophomore, was a regional qualifier last year. I got Callender with the win to get into the semis, and then Marino and Fuss. Again, you could flip a coin. They wrestled before. Marino was the winner, and I'm going with the senior experience here, and Marino getting after it to get the win over Fuss. Then we have Gerhard Reiter, Kennett Jr., who was the runner-up in the Central Tournament last week, and Brandon Bach. I'm going to go with Bach for the win. Again, a guy that's been around, has a little bit more experience. And then we have Martaccio versus Jacob Campbell, 2-time returning state medalist. Boyertown seniors, 32-4 in a year. And Campbell's going to be just way too much for Martaccio, as he will be for Bach as well, to get himself in the final, has become a 4-time state qualifier from that Boyertown Bears program. And then we have Matt Marino and Brett Callender, a rematch from last year in the regionals, a rematch from earlier this year in a dual meet. I believe it's the 4th time they're facing each other. Marino with 3 wins, and Marino gets win number 4, or remains undefeated against Callender. Nothing against Callender, I just think Marino, just a little bit better. And he's gonna do what he does best. He's gonna come at you. He's gonna stay in your face. He's going to look to throw you and feast upon any mistakes you may make. Callender can very well win this match, but I just think it's a clash of styles, and it favors Marino. And we'll talk more about that matchup from the final last week in the District 1 West tournament after we get through these wrestlebacks here. We got Horn and Erb. I'm going with Erb for the win over Erb. Lato and Fuss. Fuss is going to win going away. Again, you don't fold after losing one match, being a return state qualifier. Got Bazio and Ryder. I got Ryder with the win to get into the Conzi quarters, and El Fernani and Martaccio. I'm going with El Fernani from Marple Newtown. Then with El Fernani and Ryder, I'm going El Fernani. Fuss and Herb. Fuss gets the win, gets into that Conci semis. We already know who drops down. We got Bach and we got Callner. I'm going Fuss over Bach and Callner over El Fernani, which puts Bach and El Fernani down here. I'm got Bach with getting into states with the win here in the 5th place match. We got Callner and Fuss, and again, this would be a toss-up match. I just like the way Fuss is wrestling right now. Got him with the win over Callner, and then we go back up to the top here, and we got the Marino-Campbell rematch. And I said last week that in order for Marino to be successful, he'd have to create some chaos and some movement, because the Campbells, both of them, are just so good at just staying in position. And that's exactly what he did the entire match. In fact, going out of bounds actually launched Marino. He gave him a little bit of taste of his own medicine. So it is, Marino's going to have to work that much harder. And we know he doesn't get tired. He's going to work that much harder to get Campbell moving more and do more to make it happen. With that said, I did pick Marino to win last week, and I felt it was a solid pick. I was confident in the pick I made, based upon just everything, common opponents, toughness of schedule, and just Marino's ability to like I said, create chaos. But with that said, I'm going Campbell here. Watching Campbell just keep Marino at bay, I feel that's an effort that he can replicate as needed, as we've seen throughout his career, that he can dictate the pace of matches. I don't right now. Marino doesn't give me any idea, like any feeling that he can dictate the pace of a match with a Jacob Campbell, and that's why I'm going Campbell here. So that's 126-pound weight class. Jacob Campbell from Boyertown is your champ. Matt Marino from Gardner Valley is your runner-up. Gunnar Fuss from Truman is your 3rd place. Brett Callner from Ruston, getting back to states, is your 4th place. And Brandon Bach from Souderton is your 5th place guy that gets to Hershey this season. Here we are at 132 pounds. This weight class features Zach Trempe, pound for pound, one of the top guys in Southeast PA, one of the top guys in the state. Also in this weight class, you got returning state qualifier Jake Taylor. You have tough senior Eric Fuentes. You have junior Nick Lilly coming off a phenomenal weekend that we'll talk a little bit about. Talented freshman Antonio Petroselli, talented freshman AJ Tamburino, tough senior Drew Massetti from Kennett, Julius Starkey trying to find his form that he had a year ago, dealing with some injuries, and you got a lot. You have Trampagne, you have a cast of very talented guys beneath him. Again, this is one of those situations where this is Trampay's weight class to lose. But before we go any further, let's go and let's talk it out. We got Jake Taylor, the senior from Unionville, 34-2, wrestling Christian Fox, the senior from Boyertown, 14-9. It's gonna be all Taylor in this match. He is, coming off a weekend in which he lost in the semis at the District Central tournament. I'll get back to his winning ways. Drew Massetti, runner-up in the Central tournament to Nick Lilly, as Taylor. Talking about losing the semis, Massetti was also a victim to Nick Lilly last weekend. Connor Trowbridge, 21-3 in the season, a little banged up right now. And Connor Trowbridge, Souderton sophomore, 22-17. I got Massetti winning here, getting himself into the quarters. Then we got Cam Robinson and Julius Starkey, senior versus freshman. Starkey again, was lacking the fitness to that hurt him last week. I'm not saying to do more, because he's had another week of training, another week of practice that is helping him get into match shape. So hopefully that works out for him this weekend. But Cam Robinson's a super talented freshman from Council Rock North, and I'm going to take Robinson to win until Starkey shows me that he's in match shape that he was this time last year at regionals. Then we have Jonathan Reardon, who gets in the tournament based upon Luke Wilson dropping out, and he's a senior, 24-10 from Westchester Ruston, and AJ Tamburino, freshman from William Tennant. I got the young freshman win this match. He's won a lot of matches this year, and again will continue to win some matches here at the regional level, and punch his ticket for the quarterfinals. Here we have in this first quarterfinal Eric Fuentes and AJ Tamburino, and I'm going with the gut feeling on this one. I'm not picking with my head. I think if I'm picking with my head, I'm going with the senior Fuentes, because he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. But something tells me this young freshman is looking to make a name for himself and is going to come out and pull a bit of an upset here and put himself in the semis. We got Cam Robinson and Nick Lilly, and I picked Nick Lilly last week to beat Taylor and to beat Massetti and win that central tournament. And I just felt he was, he's on the cusp of doing great things, and I'm gonna keep with him. I think he does it. He does it again. He beats this talented freshman from Rock North, gets himself into the semis, and at this point, I think he's probably brimming with confidence after last weekend, and continues his the tear he's on. They have Massetti, senior, and freshman Petroselli. People said Massetti is banged up. Picture on the podium, he was iced up there. Some said he didn't look himself in the final. One of the things that at the same time, one of the things that is, Petroselli, freshman, has, he's 31-13. He's got 44 matches under his belt as a freshman. Talk about hitting that wall, and do they have is the mental fortitude there to forge on week after week and win these matches? Again, Petroselli hasn't shown that yet. Massetti banged up. I'm going Petroselli in this match here to beat Massetti. Anyone that saw in the West Tournament last week, Starkey took him down like 3 times in the first period and was cruising. And then we talked about his fitness, and Petroselli kept grinding and kept at him, and down the stretch broke him, and got the win, and then pinned Staku in the semis. And I just think Petroselli's on a roll. He lost to Fuentes again in the finals, but he closed the gap. I got Petroselli winning here, and then we look at Trempe Taylor, 2 returning state qualifiers. I mean, Trempe is a 2-time medalist, and this is a quarterfinal matchup. And you see with these upsets in the postseason, they blow up brackets and they create these great early on matchups. And here's another example of it. And Taylor and Trempe, it'll be pretty close early on. I think Trempe, if he gets in the zone, like anyone that watched him wrestle in the district duels final against Jacob Campbell, you see him get into that zone, and just he put on a show. Just the takedowns on a high level guy like Campbell, who's got 2 state medals, and to his credit, I got Trempe winning again here. Trempe and Petroselli, not even gonna say anything about it. It's gonna be Trempe all day. I've got Lilly and Tamburino. Again, Tamburino looking to make a name for himself. Lilly just riding high right now after the big weekend, and maybe making that level change step in his own game. I'm going to take Lilly here to go to the final with Trempe. Let's catch up here down bottom with the wrestlebacks before we talk about that final. And Petroselli and Tamburino drop down. We got Fox and Fuentes, and it's going to be Fuentes all day. And then Trowbridge and Robinson. Robinson gets back to winning after losing to Lilly. We got Starkey and Massetti. And again, 2 guys, seniors that are, not possibly not their best. I'm got to take Massetti here. And we got Reardon and Taylor. Taylor gets the win, gets into the Conci quarters. We got Massetti and Taylor. I'm going Taylor, knocking Massetti out of the tournament. And we got Fuentes and Robinson, senior freshman. I'm going senior here on this one to get into that rematch of these two from the last 2 weekends. Fuentes and Petroselli, and Fuentes gets the best of them again, punches a ticket to Hershey, and puts Petroselli down here in the 5-6 match. We got Taylor and Tamburino. Again, senior and freshman. I think Taylor just has a little bit too much experience for the young guy, and punches his ticket to get back to Hershey, and puts Tamburino down here in a matchup of two talented freshmen. And you look at the record, and just on the eye test, and you say, well, Tamburino's going to win. But then you dig a little bit deeper and you look into level of competition wrestled, and it's not really comparable. Petroselli's been in way more battles this year, and that is why I will be taking Petroselli to finish 5th and qualify for a state tournament here in his freshman year. I just think he's been more scraps. He's had more tough matches under his belt, and wrestled a significantly tougher schedule this season, and then that's what's prepared him for it. And then this 3rd place match, we go back Taylor and Fuentes. Taylor's guide's been there before. Fuentes hasn't. I'm going Taylor for the win. And brings us back up to this championship game match here, Trampe and Lilly. As I told you before, it's Trampe weight class to lose, and I stand by that. Trampe gets the win over Lilly, gives them the L. Lilly the L there in the finals. Lilly again, wrestling well. Just he's not on that level to run with Trampe. So. Here's 138 pounds in the Southeast region. Again, it's a weight class where you have one guy that is just head and shoulders above everyone else in the weight class, and then have a bunch of guys competing for 4 spots, and that one guy at top of the mountain here at the 138 pounds in District 1 is Colin Cronin, and has been all season. He is just he's on their level. He's going to Pitt next year to wrestle. Of that Upper Darby program that has seen a lot of success, not just individually at the state level, but also as a team, winning the Central League the last 2 years, making the state duels last year, making back to district duels this year, just not qualifying. And so with that said, let's get into these first round matchups. We got Connor Burgess, a Downtown East senior. He's 31-12 on the year, and Evan Whiting, a Penridge sophomore, 21-7. I'm going Whiting for the win. I just like what that Penridge program's doing. Level of competition that they're seeing on a regular basis is going to be the difference in this one. We have Alex Murtaugh, Downtown West senior. His record of 26-17, and Cole Meredith, a Owen J. Roberts sophomore, who is 28-11. I'm going Meredith on this one. Just Downtown West again. It could go either way. Meredith beat him earlier in the year, and I think he beats him again. But again, it's one of those ones that can go either way that we see all the time. Then we have Eric Hutchinson, a senior from Conestoga, is 25-5, and Jacob Shalinsky, who's a junior from Rock North. I'm going to go with Hutchinson. I was impressed with what I saw out of him last week. His ability to make you wrestle his match and slow it down, and it was a difference, in him beating Dylan Henry, and just impressive the way he handles himself. Then we have Ryan Della Compagni from Coatesville Juniors, 22-17. Nick Politti, the Garnet Valley Seniors, 33-8, 2-time state qualifier. Again, I said before, all Nick does, it's not always pretty, sometimes ugly. All he does is win in the postseason. And, this is no different here. He's going to look to get back to Hershey and get on the podium this time. So he starts off with the win over Del Compagni. He then gets Kerry Palmer, returning state qualifier again. 2 state qualifiers matching up again in the quarterfinals in this weight class. He's a senior from Rock South, 28-6. Again, you hear it all the time, these Rock South guys. They're battle cry made for March. So, with that said, I got Politti winning it. I just think that Politti he just gets it done. I don't know what it is about him, like his style, just frustrates guys, and he's able to score just enough. And like I said, a 10-1 win or a 2-1 win, doesn't matter which way he does it. A win is a win, and it gets him, it gets him to that next match. And I think he gets into the semis there after beating Palmer. We have Tyler Callner, Westchester Russian sophomore, who's 33-6, and Eric Hutchinson, we talked about earlier. This one, it comes down to, I think the better wrestler is going to win this match, and that's Tyler Callner. He's going to out-wrestle Hutchinson. He's going to be able to create more opportunities for himself, and Hutchinson, as much as he'll try to slow the match down and use his strength and to his advantage, he's not gonna be able to do enough to create on his own. And then we got Meredith and Muhammad Kaba, Academy Park seniors, 31-5. I go back to competition, who has been pushed more and more often, and that's Meredith. He's got some big wins under his belt, more big wins than Kaba has, and I just think that when push comes to shove, it's going to be the schedule, and that is going to be the difference in this match. Plus, Meredith can go the full 6 and then some. I don't know if Kaba has the motor to go with him. His athleticism will give guys fits this weekend, but in this match here, I think Meredith can match his athleticism. They want to see the guy wrestle. He can do some spectacular things on the mat. I believe it was wrestling Matt Marino or Pizzuto. It was at District Duels, and it was a shot, and Meredith cartwheeled out of it. He can do some things that they're tough to coach, and it makes them fun to watch. And I think he'll be able to match anything like that Kaba can do. And I think he's the better wrestler when it comes down to it. Then we have Whiting and Cronin. Cronin, not saying anything more. Got Cronin and Meredith. Cronin, he's on a mission. These are just obstacles in the way that he's overcoming. And Callner Politi semifinal, if it happens, could be spectacular. I'm going Politi just because he just wins matches. That's what he does. I can't say enough, and you probably get annoyed with me saying it, but that's what he does. Come this time of year, he does everything he needs to do to be successful. So before we talk about that final, let's talk about these wrestlebacks here. We have Palmer and Burzis. Palmer, even though upset with the loss, will get the win to get into the Conti quarters. We got Murtaugh and Hutchinson. I'm gonna go with Hutchinson here. Again, he'll impose his will in this match and keep himself in the tournament. And we got Shalinsky and Kaba. Kaba gets back to winning ways and gets the win. And we got Del Compagni and Whiting. I got Whiting winning it. And then the Whiting Kaba matchup, I'm going to go with the better wrestler of the two, in my opinion, and that's Whiting. And we got Hutchinson and Palmer. I got Palmer winning again. This is where he is made for March. He's going to make that run there that he needs to get back to Hershey. We take these away. We got our consolation semifinal matchup, Cole Meredith and Kerry Palmer. I'm going, Kerry Palmer on this one. Again, he's been there before. That experience is everything at this point of the season. And as much as Cole Meredith is right there, this is where he's going to lack the experience in. And we got Whiting and Callner. I'm going Callner to get into that consolation final punches ticket for Hershey. So we have the Meredith Whiting matchup. And again, this is one you can flip a coin, you can roll a dice, and X amount of times, or figure out the winner, best of, whatever. But this one, I'm going. I don't know what I'm going with here. I just think I got this feeling Evan Whiting's going to win here, and punches ticket to Hershey as a sophomore. Again, either guy possesses the talent to be in that third and fourth place match, which makes this a moot point with one guy going home. But the reality is, I go with Whiting here. So we go up to third place. We got Palmer and Callner. I'm going with the senior. Palmer, again, been there before. Going to utilize that experience to, over Callner, who hasn't been here before, and it's going to be the difference. And then it's Politi Cronus, the third time they meet in the third week in a row. They meet, and it's going to be all Cronin. Again, I told you this is weight class to lose. And so you got Cronin, Politi in second, Palmer third, Counter fourth, and Whiting fifth. And there's your top 5 from 138 pounds from the Southeast region. Here we're at 145 pounds in the Southeast region. Again, this weight class, like all of them, not short on talent. Got one undefeated wrestler, returning state qualifier, another 2-time qualifier, and a host of other guys looking to get to Hershey for the first time. We'll start right with the first round matchups. We got Gavin Hale, Downingtown West Jr., 33-12 in the season. Ryan Stockhoo from Pencrest, the seniors, 35-5. And I'm going with Hale for the win. It's one of those situations where I'm going to go with the guy that, has just wrestled a tougher schedule. And it's evident when you compare the two. We got Nick Barnhart from Avon Grove, a sophomore, 22-5, and Tyler Simpson, sophomore from Gun Mill, who's 25-11. I'm going with the Avon Grove sophomore for the win for this one. And then we have Will Laughlin, the North Penn senior, is 27-9, and Jonathan Westlake, the Springford senior, is 25-11. I'm going with the Springford senior, Jonathan Westlake, to get the win there. And then we have Austin Gershwin, the senior from Cheltenham, who's 31-3, and Dylan Sheehy, the Rock North freshman, is 24-11. It's another one of those ones where you guys, some people complain I use the same reasoning, but when you look at common opponents who they wrestled, it comes down to what the tiebreaker ends up being, and Sheehy's wrestled a tougher schedule there at Rock North than Cheltenham has. And Sheehy gets Bryce Reddington, undefeated senior, returning state qualifier from Methacton. Reddington is just been on a tear. A little hiccup along the way, getting down to 47. As far as one match that we happened to cover, he didn't wrestle his best. Affected by the weight cut and possibly some other things, but since then has just been on fire and just real tough to beat, tough to score on. He does everything right that he needs to win. We have Westlake, who won in the first round, and Brent Windle, the Coatesville senior, is 14-0, missed some time earlier in the season, but has wrestled well since he's come on, and Windle gets the win there. And then we have Barnhart and Mancini. Mancini, a sophomore from Owen J. Roberts, 33-11. Mancini gets the win, gets into the semis against Riley Palmer, the Rock South senior, who's 25-6. In this matchup here between Palmer and Mancini will be won by Palmer. Again, a guy with the experience, been there before, a little more seasoned. Going to use that experience to get himself back into the finals. Then we have Windle and Reddington. This match is intriguing. In one hand, you have Windle, who, 2 undefeated wrestlers. I forgot earlier when I introduced the weight class, 2 undefeated wrestlers, not just one. You have a guy in Windle who missed some time, and and talking in some coaches, and they say if when he's on, he's real tough to beat. Well, so far this season he's been on and tough to beat at that. And then Reddington, all he's done this season is win, and so again it's a tough matchup. But I'm going with Reddington for the win and to give Windle his first loss. Now let's go down. Let's catch up on these wrestlebacks here. So we got Stockhoo and. Let's get these guys out of the way first, so we just see what we're looking at. We got Stockhoo and Sheehy. I'm gonna go Sheehy. Again, just not convinced that the Stockhoo's battle tested. Again, I could be wrong. This was close to a toss up, but I'm going with the guy. Just got a gut feeling on this one. I've got Simpson and Westlake. I'm going Westlake here. Again, a little bit more experience and. He's wrestling well up to this point. We got Laughlin and Barnhart. I'm going with Laughlin. I like what the North Penn program's been doing. Coach Schetzline and company. They do do a good job turning out guys in deep in the postseason year in and year out. And I got Gershwin and Hale. I'm going with Hale on this one. Again, I like to use the term. He's been in more scraps this year than Gershwin has. 2 of the tougher matches Gershwin had were last weekend at the district level, and he lost both of them. So I'm going Gershwin here, and we got Hale and Laughlin. I'm going Hale for the win again at Concy semis, being a match away from going to states as a junior. And we got Westlake and Sheehy. I'm going with the senior Westlake over Sheehy. The freshman. And then we got Westlake and Mancini's beaten Westlake before. He'll beat him here. Mancini will punch his ticket for states for the first time. And then we have Hale and Wendell. I'm going to go Wendell, which will set up a rematch between Mancini and Wendell from District Duels. And we're going to talk about that in a second. Let's get this Westlake and Hale out of the way. I'm going to go Hale over Westlake here, and Hale gets to states as our fifth place guy representing District 1 and Southeast region. We're going to go back to Mancini and Wendell. One of Wendell's first matches back, coming off injuries and whatnot, was against Mancini. It was kind of like an eye opener for a lot of people, and that was a match that we covered in the first round of District Duels. And Wendell just had an answer for everything Mancini did. But with that said, I'm going to take Mancini on the rematch to beat Wendell and take third place. And then we have Reddington and Palmer. And, I'm going to go with Palmer here to give Reddington his first loss of the season and going into the state tournament. And I just think, Palmer's just Reddington's a seasoned veteran. He's been around. He's won a ton of matches. He's been in the States, undefeated. But I just think Palmer's just a little bit better right now. And I think it's going to be the difference to get him the win. And so there you have it. Riley Palmer, your champ at 145 pounds. Bryce Reddington, your runner-up. Dan Mancini, your third place. Brent Wendell, fourth. And Gavin Hale, your fifth place finisher here at 145 pounds in District 1. 152 pounds, Southeast Regional bracket, and this weight class features state qualifiers, state medalists, and some other guys that are looking to go for the first time that are have some talent. Got talented freshmen, some juniors, no sophomores. One sophomore and some heavy with seniors. So let's get started here talking about these first round matches. We got Roman Moser, freshman from Methacton. I was third place out of the West last week. He's 27-9 in the season. Dan Labus from Westchester Ruston is a junior. He's 31-6. Labus is one of these guys I like to watch. I use the term fearless. I don't throw it around lightly. He goes out and battles, and he really gets after guys, especially from top. And at this point in the season, you can turn guys on top. If you can throw guys, you can turn guys from top. You always have a puncher's chance of winning a match. And though I think Moser probably gonna be better on their feet at some point in time in that match, Labus is probably going to have the opportunity to take top, and I think that is going to be the difference here in this match, and Labus is going to get the win. From what I understand, again, I was at the West tournament last week. I know Labus went after and almost turned Chase Stevens 2 or 3 times. So again, he's not to be taken lightly there. And sorry Dan if I'm letting out your secret that you're tough on top, but I think most people already knew that. Then we have Max Livingston, a senior from Upper Darby, he's 30-4 in a year, and Dylan Cordley, a Chichester senior, is 24-8. This is gonna be a match won by Livingston. Again, he's been around and he's got the experience on Cordley. A lot of factors in making this decision. Then we have Nick Nacero, the junior from Rock North, and Caden Dalton, the Octorara juniors, 25-14. Going with Nacero from Rock North for the win here. Again, multiple factors in making this decision for me. And moving on to the last of the first round matchup, LJ Kahn, sophomore, 18-10 from Rock South, and Devin Moore, the Strathaven senior, 27-7. This one, as much as those Rock South guys are made from March, I'm going with the senior here. He's older, a little bit more mature, and like Moore to win this match here. So then we go Chase Stevens and Moore, and for his efforts to win that first round matchup, Chase Stevens is going to put him into the wrestlebacks. Stevens wrestling extremely well this year. He's 34-1. He's a returning state medalist. Ranked 2 in the state right now. Again, I joked. He's doing all this despite his dad. I gotta you got to know he's one of those guys that's on a different level, and we're going to talk about him some more as this bracket goes on. And we have Chris Berry and Nick Nacero. Berry, the senior from Boyertown, he's 34-9 in the year. big fall in the finals last week against Livingston in the West tournament, and Barry wins this one here and sets up a big semifinal match. We'll talk about in a little bit. And we got Livingston and Nick Centerling, the runner-up from the Central tournament, Wissahickon Jr., who's 29-3. Again, I'm gonna go with the guy who's got more experience, has been more battle tested, and that's hands down Max Livingston. I feel gets the win here and gets into the semifinals. And we have Colin Shannon and Dan Labus. Talked about Labus and talked him up and talked about what he's capable of doing. Colin Shannon just a little bit better on, he's in that level of guys that just won't succumb to Labus's top game, maybe not on a consistent basis. So I'm just going to take Shannon in this one. Again, he's been to states, and he's looking to get to that podium. We have Shannon and Livingston. This is going to be all Shannon here to get into the finals, and again punch his ticket to go to Hershey yet again. And we have Barry and Stevens, which is a semifinal if it happens, which I think it will. I'm super excited for. You got two guys that are just, they're pinners. They're fun to watch. Like Stevens can pin you from anywhere if you're not careful, from your feet, from top, and he's physical and he's tough, and I can say a ton of good things about him. And then we go and look at Chris Barry. Chris Barry's athletic. He's tough. Cradle on top. His crossface cradle. He's just so strong. His hands are so strong. And once he gets it locked up, he gets in trouble. He's quick on his feet. He can wrestle from his knees. I just think this is going to be just a phenomenal match if it does happen. In fact, I'm just already looking forward to it, and I'm trying to get my hopes up. But I think it's going to happen, and this one I'm going to go with the guy. Barry was a guy that came through. Opportunity to coach at camp a few times. Great kid, and with that said, though, Steven just has more experience right now. But this is one of those matches that could go either way. Again, I use a joke. You roll the dice. Anything can happen, and Barry could catch Stevens. Stevens can catch Barry. It could go either way. But if it comes down just to wrestling, I'm gonna give the nod to Stevens. All the intangibles that come with it, things I talked about. It's split so even. I gotta say though, if I go strictly on the wrestler, I'm gonna give it to Stevens. Let's go down. Look at the wrestlebacks. We got Barry and Livingston drop down. We got Moser and Moore. I'm going Moser with this one, getting a win. Another and then we got Nucero and Cordingley. I'm going with Nucero here to get the win over Cordingley from Chichester, and then Dalton Senderling. Senderling does get the win here over Dalton, just a little bit more experience than Caden Dalton. And we got Con and Labus. Labus, is able to get the win here again. Lean on his experience, and then Labus and Senderling. I got Labus winning that match, and Nucero and Moser. I got Moser with a little bit of an upset there over Nucero. Moser just, like I said, he's very, very consistent for a freshman at this weight class. I'm going to take him to win there to get in that consolation semifinal and be a match away from going. And Livingston and Moser, I'm going to go Livingston here. Again, going with the guys a little bit more experienced, and that's the difference. And we got Labus and Barry, and I'm going Barry here over Labus. Two guys with tough cradles and tough on top, but I got to go with Barry here. Just a little teeny bit better, but again, Labus can get on top and can do tons of things. And but like I said, I'm sticking with Barry. And we got Moser and Labus here in this 5-6 match, which is a rematch from their first round matchup. And again, I'm gonna go with the experience and with the guy that I know has that ace up his sleeve and has got a trick in his back pocket. And Labus that he needs to, he can get on top and he can score points. And then we got Livingston and Barry, which is a rematch from last week's West Final, which was won by Barry via fall. And I think Barry wins again. Not so sure he pins him this time, but it definitely beats him. Then we got Shannon and Stevens. These two have gone, had some matches in the past. Stevens owns the head-to-head record, and both come from well-coached programs. So it's a toss-up. If I say I go with the better wrestler here, they're both good wrestlers. I think they're equal. Um, I'm gonna go with the guy who's just a little bit more dangerous, and that's Chase Stevens. Uh, I don't want to say hands down makes it easy, the choice easy, but Stevens the one that he's a he's a game changer where he can score so many different ways and hit you with something for big points when you least expect it. So I'm going Stevens on this one to be your Southeast Region champ. Colin Shannon to be the runner up. Chris Berry to be our third place finisher. Max Livingston fourth place, and Dan Labus fifth place. Here we are at 160 pounds in the Southeast region. We have, again, a weight class that returns a state medalist, a former state qualifier, and a lot of guys looking to punch that ticket for the first time to Hershey. So it's a weight class that has two guys that definitely are on a different level, and a lot of guys that will be right there in the mix when it comes down to it. Again, let's get after it here in the first round or opening round. We got Mason Novak, an Upper Dublin sophomore, 30-4 in the season, and David Stevens, the Pencrest senior, is 35-9. It is one of those matchups like it could go either way. But I'm going to go with the Pencrest senior Stevens. Just has a little bit more experience as far as high school wrestling when it comes to Novak, and I'm going to go with him for the win. We got Giovanni Angelini, Downingtown West seniors, 24-13, and Connor Gouton, a Pennsbury senior, 28-11. I'm going to go Angelini for the win here. Again, is a guy who's kind of just comes at you. And he attacks, and I'm giving him the nod here because I like guys who come out and attack and try to score points. It's not always pretty, but he comes at you and looks to score points. We got Patrick O'Neill, North Penn sophomores, 25-12, and Hunter Vogel's Boyertown seniors, 30-12. With Vogels, as I'll talk about, he's banged up right now, and anyone that's seen him wrestle recently knows he's hurting. But he's still plugging along and trying to achieve goals of being again on that podium at states and getting her. She hasn't qualified for states yet in his career. I'm gonna go with Vogels here for the win. Probably won't be pretty, but I watched him gut out a win over Michael Blakemore last week at Districts, and he took all of his injury time, and he could barely stand on his feet, and he still just gutted out a win, and that says something about the resolve of that kid, and it was super impressive. So I'm going to it's hard to pick against someone that is going to be that's going to come at you like that, wounded as he was. Then we have Tyler Moussa, a freshman from Unionville, is 22-13, and Shane Rose, Abington senior, 24-7. I'm going with the upperclassman here. I'm going with Shane Rose to get the win. He gets to win the first round, and all he gets in the quarterfinals is Ryan Resnick, who hasn't lost a match inside the region this year. And Resnick wins. He's just wrestling so well right now. Last 2 weeks in the final, wrestling folk from Upper Perk, both times just putting on a clinic, and like I said, he's just on a different level than guys he's been wrestling lately, and he doesn't wrestle down his competition. He definitely goes in and asserts his dominance, and gets after the match early. Then we have a matchup between Vogels and Colin Hurley, to Westchester Ruston sophomores, 23-2. This is where I think the injury catches up to Vogels. Hurley's a formidable opponent, and we'll just have a little bit too much for him. But rest assured, Vogel's not done yet. Then we have Jacob Folk, the Upper Perk senior, he's 29-7, and Angelini from Downingtown West. And Folk gets the win here, gets himself into the semis. And then we have Stevens and Stillings. Stillings, the Penridge junior, who's 31-4. I'm going Stillings here. He's returning, state medalist. Just the juniors, and had a ton of experience, and he just gets it done here, and then he gets it done against Folk. He's gonna give Folk way more than he can handle, and puncher's ticket to the finals, repeat finalist here in District 1. And we have Hurley and Resnick in the other semifinal. And as much as this one looks good on paper, I think you see Resnick win in a convincing fashion to get to the final and set that match with Stillings that everyone just was dying to see. And then let's go down here and talk about the rest of the match before we talk about that Resnick-Stillings match. We got Novak and Rose. I'm going with the upperclassmen again. I think Rose just he's wrestling pretty good right now, and he's going to continue to, and he's going to have that advantage, use that experience as an advantage over this sophomore Mason Novak. We have Gouton and Vogels. Again, can't go against Vogels that much because of what I've seen him do with injured or not. We have Angelini and O'Neill. I'm going with O'Neill for the win. And we have Moussa and Stevens. I'm going to go Stevens here over Moussa. And we got Stevens and O'Neill. And again, I'm going to take the guys. And just been in a few more battles. That's Patrick O'Neill. And then we got Vogels and Rose, which I think will be a good match. Rose will push him, but ultimately I think Vogels will be able to hang on and win and put himself in that position where he's got 2 chances to make it to States. And so we got Vogels, let's take back Folk and Hurley. I got Folk and Vogels, and Folk has beaten him already this postseason. I think Folk beats him again, qualifies for States. I talked about, I use the term model of consistency. Folk has been a model of consistency this year. Being opportunistic and beating guys he should, and winning matches. And then we have O'Neill and Hurley down here. I'm gonna go with Hurley for the win to get qualify for States, and then the Hurley Folk final. But let's do this. Talk about this Vogels and O'Neill match here, and this will be a match where you have the young sophomores hungry going against the wounded senior that's trying to make that last ditch effort to push to Chocolate Town. And again, I said it's hard for me to pick against Vogels, and it's going to be hard for me to pick here, and I'm going to take Vogels to finish 5th and get to States for the first time. And hopefully, he's on the way to getting better, and maybe can be better by that time. Again, who knows? So then we have Folk and Hurley. I'm gonna go with the senior experience of Folk to get the win there over the sophomore upstart from Westchester Ruston, which brings us back up top to the Stillings-Resnick match. And I go back and forth, about this one. Sometimes I think it could be close, and then sometimes I don't. And there's, I can see it being close, a 1-point match. I could see it being a several-point match with either guy having the advantage of controlling. Here I look at, Stillings is very tough on top, and if there's one place in Resnick's game that it's not his best, it's his bottom game. So will Stillings be able to ride him? Will Stillings be able to turn him? I don't know. If he's able to, it's going to be a long match for Ryan Resnick. On the flip side of things, I think I give Resnick the nod on their feet. He's more athletic than Stillings, and I think that athleticism will create problems on their feet. Again, this is just my opinion. Stillings is solid on his feet. He just doesn't possess the athleticism, which could be a deciding factor. So, maybe Resnick is able to play some catch and release, which he's grown accustomed to doing, and build a lead that way. And if Stillings isn't able to turn him, it becomes a long night for Stillings. So I go back and forth with this, and ultimately what it comes down to is consistency. And who's consistently been there. And I'm not going to say who's consistently wrestled tough competition, because when it comes down to it, they both have wrestled a schedule and a half this year, hitting big tournaments and big opponents and wrestling some big time matches. Escape the Rock, King of the Mountain, Beasts, just to name a few of the scraps and grinding that these two have gone through. So, to say that one's had a tougher schedule than the other, they haven't. In fact, I talking about tough schedules, I talking with some coaches around, and I got some coaches feel that there's these two wrestle two, the Penridge and O&J wrestle two of the toughest schedules in District 1. along with the likes of Boyertown and Rock South. So, I could go back and forth. I go through this match a lot in my head. I know I'm rambling right now, but just to tell you how close this one was, I'm going to, I'm going to pick with the consistency, and that's Josh Stillings. Again, this one can go either way. It could be close either way. It could be going away either way in either guy's favor. But I'm going to go with the guy that been for has a state medal, has has qualified for states more consistently, has been just more consistent throughout his career. Resnick is a great wrestler, and I know him. I just think Stillings is just a little bit better right now, and as I always say, like, I know a lot of the kids watch these. If you're upset with the pick, prove me wrong, and I'll be happy to eat crow on being wrong. So that's our 160-pound finalists and place winners. Josh Stillings from Penridge, our champ. Ryan Resnick, our runner-up from O&J. Jacob Folk, the third place out of a perk. Colin Hurley, fourth from Westchester Ruston. And Hunter Vogels from Boyertown as our fifth place guy out of the Southeast region. Here we are at 170 pounds. Starting off here, we have returning state qualifier David Cox. And, a lot of other guys looking to make their first trip. We have in this first matchup of the first round, David Blanchard from Penridge, a junior, is 20-12, and Brendan Marion, a senior, 32-5. Marion coming off what probably is a disappointing weekend, but he gets the win here. Disappointing weekend when she finished third, losing to Jason Zollers in the quarterfinals. More on that later. David McCoy, a senior, 26-3, and Tommy DeSisto, a senior, 27-4. McCoy from William Tennant and DeSisto from Plymouth Whitemarsh. I have DeSisto picking up the win here and getting into the quarters. Moving on to Ryan Sharpless, an Octorara senior, 28-10, and Jason Zollers, a Owen J. Roberts Jr., 22-15. This is an intriguing matchup in the first round here. Can go either way, and getting a favorable matchup in the quarterfinal, which is a huge plus. I got Zollers going coming off the weekend. He took he medically forfeited the fourth place match to Marion, who he beat earlier. He got a little banged up in his match when he beat Isaiah Mays in the consolation semis, and decided to play it safe. But just wrestled very well. And I said in my last preview, he's good for like a match or two in a tournament where he's not supposed to win it. He comes in and he does win, and he did show that by beating Marion and beating Mays, two guys ranked ahead of him, finished ahead of him at Pac-10s, and in districts, turns the table on him. Next we have Jake Fopp from Souderton. He's a senior, 23-11, against Andrew DiBernardo, a Westchester East sophomore, 27-7. I got DiBernardo. DiBernardo's one of those guys, I talked about him earlier in other previews, where he's got that back pocket where he's tough on top and he's able to turn guys. If he can get an opportunity to get on top, he's got a chance. I like him to a puncher's chance. With that said, I got Ryan Finn waiting for him in the quarters. He's 20-3. He's a senior in DiBernardo. This is a toss-up match. I really could go either way with it, but I'm going to lean on the senior here and go Finn to beat DiBernardo to get into the semis. Here, Fitzgerald, the senior from Academy Park. He's 34-3 in Zollers. Again, Fitzgerald enjoying a nice senior season, league champ, district east champ. Zollers coming off the fourth place finish. Again, this one's a tough one. Like, you look at the records, it's one thing, but then you look at level of competition these two guys have seen all year, and it levels the playing field. And if Zollers is 100% healthy, I'm going with Zollers on this one to get into the semis at regionals, just based upon the way he's wrestling right now, the level of competition he beat this past weekend. If he can replicate the effort, and that's a big if, he wins this match. We have Jack Files, who came out of nowhere. I believe he's the sixth place guy in the pack a week earlier, and comes back and takes second at districts. I wasn't standing Matt's side for his match with Isaiah Mays in the semis or quarters, but every time I looked over, he had Mays on his back. He beat him like 13-4, and then he did end up losing in the finals to Finn. But hats off to Files for just turning it on in the postseason and getting there. Unfortunately, I don't think he has what it takes to beat the senior Tommy DeSisto from Plymouth Whitemarsh. DeSisto makes his way into the semifinals. Going here, we have Brendan Marion, David Cox, two of the top guys in the region, are then now going to have to force to face off here in the quarterfinals. And then again, I talked about earlier those great quarterfinal matchups. Here's another one that's going to be, potential for some fireworks. But I got to go with Cox, the guy who's been there before, has the experience. Just like I'm going to go with Cox here in the semis over DeSisto to get punch ticket to the finals and qualify for states. Zollers and Finn again. It's one of those matches that you look at it and you can't believe either guy has the opportunity to be here, but they both do. And I'd like to say, this match was a rematch from the semis last week where Finn won 3-1. But Zoller's game all he wanted and then some. He just couldn't finish any of his attacks. Here I'm going to go with the senior. I'm going to go with Finn to qualify for states the first time as his senior and get to the finals against Cox. And let's go down and take a look at the wrestlebacks before we get this final here. We got Blanchard and DiBernardo. Going DiBernardo here again. I think his saving grace here is the fact he's tough on top and he's solid everywhere else. We have McCoy and Fitzgerald. I'm going with Fitzgerald to get a win here after losing to Zollers up above. We have Sharpless and Files. Again, Files had a great run, but I think this is where it ends, and Sharpless wins and gets into the Concy quarters. We have Fop and Marion. Marion wins to get into the Concy quarters as well. We'll stay down here with Sharpless and Marion wins. There again, Marion just a little bit better and has advantage over him there over Sharpless. We have Fitzgerald and DiBernardo. I'm taking the sophomore again. I think he's gonna be too much for Fitzgerald as far as having an opportunity to get on top. We look here with DeSisto and Zollers dropping down. You have DeSisto and DiBernardo. I'm gonna ride this sophomore one more time into the consolation final and qualify for states as a sophomore for the Westchester East Vikings. And here in Marion Zollers, we have a rematch at a quarterfinal at the District 1 West tournament last week. And anyone who watched it, you saw Marion just was relentless in his attack early, and he couldn't finish. And I think frustration built in. He kept attacking. Again, this is my opinion. And Zollers did a good job of just keep him at bay. He took a stalling call early, but still countered, and then when Marion started to tire, Zoller started turning up, and he really pushed the pace there at the end and took it to overtime and won it in overtime. And it was just a great job of grinding out a win for him. However, with all that said, I don't think it happens again. I think Marion wins there and puts Zollers in the 5-6 match with DeSisto from Plymouth Whitemarsh. I mean, Zollers has had a good run, and he faces off against tough senior Tommy DeSisto from Plymouth Whitemarsh. Like I said, Zollers had a good run that's going to continue one more week as he makes his way to the state tournament as a junior for Owen J. Roberts. And then we have the DiBernardo Marion match, and that is going to go in favor of Brendan Marion of the Methacton Warriors. Gives them another state qualifier, and gets himself to Hershey as a senior. And we go up here, we look at this final here between Cox and Finn, and this is one of those weight classes where it was like Cox's weight class to lose, and he's not going to lose it. He's going to win here over Finn to take the 170-pound crown. Your top 5 place winners: David Cox, Oxford area; Ryan Finn from Potts Grove; Brendan Marion from Methacton; Andrew DiBernardo from Westchester East; and Jason Zollers from Owen J. Roberts. 182 pounds, another weight class I'm looking forward to. A lot of talented guys. I mean, just as all the weight classes do. But there's just a lot of guys in this weight class that have an opportunity to qualify. And let's just see how I have it playing out. We have Alex Litz. He is a junior from Truman. He's 25 and 13 on the year. And Ethan Seeley, the Great Valley sophomore, is 27 and 8. I'm going with the junior Litz for the win here to get into the quarterfinal round. We have Nick Corbich, the Rock South sophomore, 15 and 13, and Jack Horvath, a Radnor junior, 26 and 6. This is one of those where I'm going to go with the young sophomore Corbich, just because he wrestles more. He has a more competitive schedule. He has the opportunity to do that from that Rock South team, and coin their phrase "made for March," and it's March. So let's move down to the bottom half. We've got Chase Smith, the Springford sophomore, returning regional qualifier. Finished the season last year 8-8 with qualified for regionals. Got real hot in the postseason. Actually got the opportunity to wrestle late in the year. He gets Scott Horry from Plymouth Whitemarsh, a junior who's 20 and 13. And I have Smith getting the win here. Again, Smith does a nice job. He doesn't do anything flashy. It's going to knock your socks off, but he's going to continue to just battle every second he's on the mat. Then we have Dante Panguish, Glenn Mills' other regional qualifier. He's a senior. He's 20-7. And Rich Maggio, Norristown Junior. I'm taking Maggio here just in the fact that he's a pinner. Every time I catch him wrestling, in the matches he's won, he's got guys on their back. He's got, legs in here, legs in there. So I definitely think, Maggio is going to win this one here. And then as we move down, Maggio then gets Kevin Edwards, returning state medalist from Avon Grove. And this match here, I have Edwards winning pretty handily. Edwards just, he's one of those guys who works really hard. He was a guy that I talk about not forfeiting that 5th place match last year, and he didn't. He actually got a forfeit due to an injury. He got in the tournament. He ends up finishing 6th in the state, coming in as basically an alternate. So, a little food for thought there for you guys that don't want to wrestle that match, despite how bad you might be upset you didn't qualify or whatnot on years we don't have that 5th qualifier. Make sure you go and wrestle that match. Anyway, Chase Smith here wrestling Colin Stevens, undefeated Colin Stevens from CB East. Again, he's undefeated, and he's the 3 seed in this weight class. Just to give you an idea of the 3 champs, he's the 3rd, and it's based on seeding points, and it's based on level of competition, stuff like that, and it's why you see an undefeated wrestler. His competition that he's wrestling isn't that of Kevin Edwards and Elijah Jones, but I have Stevens beating Smith here to get into the semis. Here I have Sean McBride winning over Corbich. McBride, very unorthodox wrestler in a way that he can beat you in a lot of different ways. He's good at some throws and trips, and he's just he beats you in unconventional ways that way, and he's just a tough out. And then we have Litz against Elijah Jones, our 1 seed. He's 40-6 from Boyertown, and Jones wins this one here. We have Jones McBride. It's going to be all Jones in this match. He's going to punch his ticket to Hershey again. He's a focused young man that's looking for, get on the podium at Hershey next week, and this is another step in the right direction. Then we have Colin Stevens and Kevin Edwards. And I got Edwards winning again, leaning on the fact he's been there before, and he's had a tougher go this season. And we'll come back in a little bit and talk about that finals match. But right now we have Seeley and Maggio. I'm going Maggio again for the simple fact that the guy, like I said, he's a pinner, and he just wins matches. Got Horvath and Smith with the win on this one here. Wrestle a tougher schedule, the common opponents and level competition are definite factors indicating this decision. Then we have Henry and Horry. That's my fault and Corbich, and I'm going Corbich on this one. These, you can never count these Rock South guys out. And the kid he's a guy that, he's your typical guy from Rock South. He's come out, he's well coached. He's going to wrestle hard. He's going to wrestle for the full 6 minutes. I think he's just going to be a little bit more than Ori can handle. And we got Panguish and Litz, and I'm going Litz here for the win. And I got this young sophomore. I'm gonna ride him a little bit further in the Conci semis. We can pull these guys back as they were losers in the semis. We got Maggio and Smith, and I'm going with Chase Smith here for the win over Rich Maggio. Again, common opponents, former matchups, things like that. Smith is hands down the guy I'm going with. And we go here with Smith and Corbich. Sorry, I got a little bit ahead of myself. Stevens with the win over Corbich, and McBride with the win over Smith, which puts Corbich and Smith down here. I got Smith qualifying for states this year after being a regional qualifier last year. And then, we have Stevens and McBride here. I'm going with Stevens, remain with 1 loss at the end of this tournament. His lone setback being to Kevin Edwards. And we go back up here and we talk about Elijah Jones and Kevin Edwards. Kevin Edwards has a state medal in his trophy case. Elijah Jones does not. But when it comes down to Elijah Jones, is just both guys super tough. But the difference is the work that Elijah Jones has put in against the level of competition he has. Boardtown's schedule, hands down, is more difficult than Avon Grove's, and it's that competition that's prepared him for this postseason run. And Jones gets the win here at 182 pounds. Here we are, PA Wrestling ranking or predictions at 195 pounds. We got returning state qualifier Cole Zaff there as the 1 seed. Nick Douliakis, who's just on fire right now with matches he's won. And these two guys look like they're on a collision course. But we're going to talk about how this bracket's going to play out. Again, as always, in my opinion, and see who the 5 guys left standing are at the end. So right now, here in this first round matchup, we have Jack Morgan, the Souderton seniors, 23-8, and Cade Lemaire, returning state qualifier. Sorry, I forgot that. At 220 pounds, the senior from Conestoga. He's 11-3 in a year, battling some injuries early on, but he's gotten healthy now, and he looked pretty good last week. However, I'm going to take the senior Morgan from Souderton for the win. He just didn't look good enough, in my opinion. He's not match ready. Fitness-wise. We have Brandon Ullman, a North Penn senior record of 16-12, and Andrew Lamberjack, the senior from Westchester Wrestling, with a record of 30-11. This match is going to be all Lamberjack. He's physically imposing 195-pounder, and I feel he's just going to have his way with Ullman in that first-round matchup. Then we have Noah Wood, the Quakertown senior, 29-6, against Mike Parecka, the Boyertown seniors, 25-14. This match, Parecka does a good job of staying in matches and winning a lot of close ones, but he's not going to be able to do that with Noah Wood here. Noah Wood is going to, put Parecka into the wrestlebacks. Next, we have senior Tyler Getman from Council Rock South. Kind of guy like rides some ebbs and flows, wins some big matches, loses some other ones. And then upstart freshman from Sun Valley, Hunter Katka. With this one, I'm going with the freshman. And for people are gonna say, "Oh, you're finally picking against a Rock South kid," which is not true. But I understand what you mean. But Kaka, I think, is gonna win here. He's bottom line, he's not your conventional freshman. Win 29 matches at 195 pounds is no easy task. He's got some solid wins under his belt, and I think he takes care of Getman here. For his win and all of his effort to get there, he gets the West champ Nick Douliakis. He's a senior. He's 25-6, and Douliakis, the way he's wrestling right now, is going to be a really tough out. He's solid on his feet, and on top, he's just turning everybody. He can put points on the board in a hurry, and he's just so strong from that position. And like you said, he's solid everywhere else. We go up here to Wood and Paul O'Neill, the Penridge senior, who's 26-7, the champ from the East last week. I'm going to take Wood here to beat O'Neill and get himself into the semis against Douliakis. And then we have Ryan Mortimer, the Garnet Valley senior. A lot of seniors in this weight class, 32-7. Another one of these guys that made the jump to 195 from 182. And he's got Andrew Lamberjack. This is going to be has the makings of a good match, but ultimately I think when the dust settles, Mortimer is going to be your winner, and he's going to punch his ticket for the semis. And then that leaves us back with Jack Morgan and Cole Zaff, the Downingtown West senior, returning state qualifier, 37-3 on the year. I'm going Cole Zaff to win here. I'm going to take Zaff one more time to beat Mortimer, and I got Douliakis beating Wood to the final, and hey, why not? Let's take Zaff one last time to be your regional champ at 195 pounds. And I apologize, I didn't do my wrestlebacks first, but I was just getting excited there. Let's go back down and do the wrestlebacks. We got Lemaire and Katka, and Lemaire, the returning state qualifier. Apologize for the misspelling of your name. Should be capital M. And Katka, I'm going with Lemaire here. I'm going to go with that senior experience. He's going to draw upon that. He's been to this level before. I think he's gonna have that, use that, channel that for his advantage. Then we have Ullman and O'Neill. I'm going O'Neill here for the win to get into that consolation quarters. We got Parecka and Lamberjack. It's going to be Lamberjack again. Parecka is going to struggle with the pressure in which Lamberjack's going to bring. He'll be able to keep it close, but he won't be able to, in the end, won't be able to win the match. We have Getman and Morgan. Unfortunately, Getman, I have him bowing out here as a senior and ending his things, but Morgan gets the win, and he faced off against Lamberjack. I have Lamberjack getting the win over Jack Morgan, and I have O'Neill with the win over Lemaire, ending Lemaire's quest to be a two-time state qualifier for the Conestoga Pioneers. And take this away, we have Mortimer and Wood down here, O'Neill and Mortimer. I have Mortimer with the win over O'Neill. I just think, is coming up from 182. He's a little bit more athletic than some of these 95-pounders. I feel he's going to give O'Neal issues from neutral, and ultimately that's where the match will be won there on their feet. Then we have Lumberjack and Wood. Again, a match I could flip the coin, but it doesn't. It's hard to pick one, but I'm going to go with Wood, guy with a little bit more experience, and that's going to put O'Neal and Lumberjack down here. And again, I think Lumberjack is good enough to be there, but on this particular weekend, I think O'Neal beats him here and goes as our 5th place guy, and our 3rd place guy is going to be Ryan Mortimer from Garnet Valley. So top to bottom, we have Zaff in 1st as your champ, Duliakis runner-up. Mortimer, your 3rd place finisher here in the Southeast region. Noah Wood from Quakertown, your 4th place, and your 5th place last qualifier. Paul O'Neal, the Penridge senior. There are your 5 finalists from Southeast region. Here is your bracket in the Southeast region for 220-pound weight class. This weight class, again, is very top-heavy at the top with 2 guys that look to be on a collision course in Joe Doyle and Brian Kennerly. Joe Doyle won this weight class a year ago, pinning Kennerly in the final, going on to finish 4th in the state. However, over the summer, Kennerly put in work, and then when these 2 met at King of the Mount earlier in the year, Kennerly was the one that came out on top. But we will go through his bracket and see if they, 1, do meet up, and 2, if they are going to, who will win. First of the first round matchups, we have Chris Mandonat, Downingtown West Jr., and Isaiah Godbold, the Harriet Truman Senior. I'm going with Godbold here for the win. I'm putting Mandonat down in the Wrestlebacks. We have Alex Raimondo, 2 weeks removed from beating Michael McGuire, losing to him last week in the districts, and Marlon Cephas, the 4th place finisher out of the West. I'm going to go with Cephas. I just think he's going to create his quickness and power is going to be too much from Raimondo. He's not as quick as Cephas, in my opinion. I think that's going to be the difference in this match here. And then we have Mike Medugno coming off match which Kennerly just really outclassed them, and Stephen Dadio, the Penridge Jr., Medugno, the Upper Perk Seniors, 29-4. It's gonna be all Medugno. He's gonna be way too much for Dadio, and Dadio's gonna start go to the Wrestlebacks from here. Then we have Nick Sudell, Plymouth White Marsh Seniors, 21-11. And Tyler LaRocca, the Springford Senior, is 17-11. Well, I'll tell you what, LaRocca had a great district tournament, and something great to build upon. But I don't think he has enough in the tank to beat Sudell from Plymouth White Marsh. Call it a hunch, call it what you want. Sudell then earns a trip into the quarters and wrestles Joe Doyle, and Joe Doyle will win this one. Again, he's on a mission to get back, and another shot at Kennerly, and this is another step on that, getting there, another step towards getting there. And we have this is an intriguing matchup here in the quarters. One I'm interested to see: Mike McGuire from Unionville, a senior, 32-4, and Mike Medugno. I like to think Medugno, after Kennerly and Doyle, is that number 3 guy. He's that next guy in line. However, I don't know, but just based upon what I think, I'm thinking it's going to be Medugno winning here, getting in the semis in a match with Doyle. And then we have Cephas and Verspy from North Penn, who's a junior, 27-6. Got Verspy winning there over Cephas, and Kennerly handily taking care of Isaiah Godbold to get into the semis. Again, Kennerly winning again to get to the finals, punch that ticket for Hershey, a 2-time regional finalist, looking for that first regional crown. And between Medugno and Doyle, I got Doyle winning to set up that finals match. I'm not going to get too excited this time and spoil the finals just yet. We have Mandonat and Sudell. I got Mandonat winning here to get into the next rounds and have keep his quest alive to qualify for Hershey. And we have Raimondo McGuire. Again, this is another rematch. I got McGuire winning this one and moving into the Concy quarterfinals. From there, we have Dadio and Cephas. Again, Dadio is up against another tall task in Marlon Cephas, and I have Cephas winning here. And LaRocca and Godbold, again, I think Godbold's going to be a little bit too much for Godbold in this case. And then we have Cephas and Godbold, and I'm going with Godbold there to get into the consolation semifinals, wrestling against Michael McGuire from Unionville. And you see who the drop downs are, the 220-pound semifinal losers. We have Verisby and McGuire. I got Verisby beat McGuire, dropped McGuire down into that 5th and 6th place match, and then Godbold and Medugno. Godbold had a good run, but he's getting put down at 5-6 match by Medugno. Medugno and Verisby qualifying for states. Medugno second time making it there, and then with that 5-6 match, we have McGuire and Godbold. McGuire getting the win there, qualifying for states as our 5th place guy. Verisby and Medugno, we have Mike Medugno with the win to take 3rd. And again, I said I think he's the 3rd best guy in our region, and for good reason. I think he's going to finish 3rd here. And one of our most intriguing finals, if it does happen, is Brian Kennerly and Joe Doyle. And with this match, I went back and forth. I had it could go either way, but I'm thinking from early on in the year with Kennerly winning, I got Doyle with the win here at 220 pounds to be our regional champ here from the Southeast. And so there's your top 5. Joe Doyle, your champ out of Council Rock South. Brian Kennerly, runner-up from Upper Darby. Mike Medugno, 3rd place out of Upper Perk. Owen Verisby, 4th place from North Penn. And Michael McGuire, Unionville Senior, is your 5th place guy out of Southeast Region. Here we go, our 285-pound bracket, our last but not least in the Southeast Regional PA Wrestling predictions. Let's jump right in. Well, here we have a very balanced weight class. There's no real star power like last year. You had guys that you knew were going to go and win matches at the state level out of this weight class. And this year, not saying that there's not, but we have some very talented guys. They're guys that fly under the radar. They don't probably get the respect statewide that they deserve. But Bruce Graber last year, and Tommy from Boyertown. I should know his last name. It'll probably come to me some point in time while I'm going through this. But they those were guys that went out and won a lot of matches, not just locally but statewide, and earned medals at Hershey. The Boyertown guy being the runner-up. But let's go first here. Lee Holbert, the Strathaven Junior, 26-12, and Nick Cooper, the Ben Salem Junior, 24-5. Cooper, some people have as a favorite to rank him pretty fondly with the rankings. I have him beating Holbert here, set up a huge quarterfinal match there we'll come back to. We have John Sheldon, the Ridley Senior, 23-10, runner-up last week, and Jesse Cook, the Downtown West Junior, 22-18. Haven't seen Sheldon and Cook both wrestle this year. Cook is a probably not a true heavyweight per se. He's on the lighter side. He's leaner. He's more athletic. Sheldon is big and athletic. So I'm gonna give the nod to Sheldon here for the win, based upon I just think it's a bad physical matchup for Jesse Cook. However, I saw in saying that, I've seen Jesse Cook win some matches against guys that were more physically imposing than him because he just doesn't stop. He's nonstop, and that's to his advantage. He really uses that when he's on the mat, and he's got a pretty good motor. I haven't heard anything other than on Brandon McGinley, why he injury defaulted in the finals of the Central Tournament last week. So I'm going to operate under the inclination that he is 100% healthy. I think he will beat Shane Anderson from Rock South and get himself into the quarterfinals. And then Matt Lepore, Nick Chapman, Happer, Horsham, Junior, 30-3, and Lepore, the Junior, 27-9. I'm going with Chapman here to win, put himself in the quarterfinals, trying to qualify for states for his head coach Glenn Kaiser, who is retiring at the end of the season. We have Chapman and Ryan Cody, the East champ, and I'm going to go with Cody here. These upperweights from North Penn are pretty impressive, tough guys, well coached, and it's going to show here at this regional level. We have McGinley and Goodman. Again, I'm operating under the assumption that McGinley is healthy, so that's where his picks come from. When healthy, I think he does beat Goodman. After seeing Goodman wrestle, Goodman is athletic and can move, but overall, if McGinley is healthy, he is the better wrestler, and that's what's going to be the difference maker here. We have Kyle Osterhout and Sheldon. I'm going to go Osterhout, the senior from the Chamonix. I'm going Osterhout. Again, I just think he's the better wrestler of the two. Both guys big, both guys strong. But at this level, a lot of the guys are big and strong at 285 pounds. It comes down to who can wrestle better when it's all said and done. We have this Cooper Walls matchup here in this last of the quarterfinals we're going to talk about. And again, Walls is real hot right now. Cooper, coming off a loss last week in the East tournament, I am going to have to go the way of Walls, and just because I'm going with the guy that's a hot wrestler right now, that's why I'm going to ride him into the finals, be another state qualifier for Avon Grove, like Kevin Edwards. And then we go down here, McGinley and Cody. Again, McGinley's healthy, and Cody, I still think Cody wins and gets into the finals here. Let's drop down, talk about these wrestlebacks before we get up and talk about that final some more. So we got Holbert and Chapman. I'm going to go Chapman on this one again. One, I just think he's going to win it because he's a better wrestler. But two, he's definitely wrestling for a chance to take it. Coach Kaiser Hershey one more time. We have Goodman and Cook. This is another intriguing matchup because, Goodman beat Sheldon, and Sheldon would have beaten Cook in this situation. But again, I think even though Cook is probably more athletic, I think Goodman's size, because he's a big guy, is going to use that to his advantage to neutralize Cook's speed and wear him down, and ultimately Goodman winning. We have Anderson and Sheldon. Sheldon's going to get back a win over Anderson from Rock South. And then Lepore and Cooper. Again, as much as I like Matt Lepore, I think Nick Cooper gets the win here and gets in that consolation quarterfinal. And then here we have Cooper beating Sheldon and Chapman beating Goodman. And we can reveal these guys because we already knew that they were coming down. McGinley and Cooper. Again, a great matchup here in the consolation semifinals. I'm going way at Cooper. I just have a feeling that he's gonna be a little bit too athletic for McGinley in this situation. And Osterhout and Chapman, I'm going Chapman. Again, he's a guy that can get up and move, and I think he's going to use that to his advantage over Osterhout. And then we look here, we have Osterhout and McGinley, and I'm going Osterhout with the win over McGinley. But again, I think part of me that weighed in on my decisions here at McGinley down the stretch was I'm not sure of what his health is. I feel if he is healthy, he'll get to where that consolation semifinal. If he's all the way healthy, it was something small, minor, they just kept him out for precautionary measures, then I think he may beat Cooper. But I cannot. I gotta being true to myself and being true to pick, I think it'd be a real close match. So if there's anything remotely wrong, it could affect the outcome. And then we have Cooper and Chapman here. I'm going Cooper for the win. And then we have our our last three places in place. We go back to Walls and Cody. Again, this match, two big athletic heavies, or 285s. I'm gonna go with the guy that's winning matches right now, and is the hotter of the two wrestlers, and that's gonna be Josh Wallace from Avon Grove. And then we have Wallace from Avon Grove, Cody from North Penn, Cooper from Ben Salem, Chapman from Hatboro Horsham, and Osterhout from the Chamonix. There are your top 5 place winners from the 285 pound weight class in the Southeast region.